Okay, let's wrap up Deep Jungle today.
I may have said it last time, but I find it striking how nobody cares that a anthropomorphic duck and dog are just waltzing around with this kid.
Get used to that. No one ever comments on Donald or Goofy.
Oh, it's funny.
At times, it feels like Sora is the only one who's actually there.
Oh, man. I could almost imagine that Donald has some kind of glamour charm. Because, you know, he does change their appearance sometimes.
Donald's magic does enhance their ability to blend into each world on occasion.
I'm amazed you didn't get sucked out into that loading zone.
I believe that this isn't the actual final encounter with Sabor, so I don't think it would work. Might be wrong about that.
It just, like, I wonder how close you came to accidentally walking out of the fight.
Pretty close, although I believe that the game is smart enough to know that to not trigger loading zones unless you are, like, intentionally moving in that direction. Just being knocked into it won't cause you to move areas.
It's funny, I don't think of bamboo when I think of Africa, but now I'm like, that's probably a thing.
At last I learned block.
Yay.
So interesting note on the block/guard ability. In the original Japanese, it has always been called Reflect Guard because of its ability to reflect projectiles, and that ability is a bit harder to keep in mind for a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans in the West because they removed the reflect from the name.
So what was White Fang?
That was an accessory that we got from defeating Sabor.
I wasn't sure if it was like the key ring for this world.
No, usually you get the keychain at the end of the world. There are exceptions, but it's usually how it happens. So, we were talking a little bit before about the legal issues that are preventing Tarzan from being used in Kingdom Hearts again. It should be noted that as of January 2025, the earliest Tarzan works are now in the public domain. So it is possible that the legal issues won't be a thing for too much longer. In theory, they aren't right now. But if we learned anything from the estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, silly little things like copyright law is not going to stop the estate from causing as many problems as possible.
I mean, I don't have a super robust understanding, but isn't it the version of that character at the time of public domain is what counts? But Disney would theoretically own this version of Tarzan, so yeah, I don't know how that works. Yeah, how would that work? But
it's something like you can't own an idea, but you can own a particular expression of that idea.
Right.
Disney owns their interpretation of Tarzan. They can re-release what they've already made with him as many times as they want, but they can't make more, probably.
Yeah.
And the thing about the version of the character, that's certainly something that Doyle's estate argued, where it's like, oh, well, later, due to these circumstances in Doyle's life, he made the character of Sherlock more friendly, which means that we still have copyright over any version of Sherlock which is sufficiently friendly, which is absolutely not how that law is supposed to work.
Yeah, makes me wonder.
But, I mean, do you really want to go to that legal battle?
No. And it's funny because, like, you know, speaking of Disney and Sherlock Holmes, you know, there's the Great Mouse Detective, which skirts around the issue by, that's not Sherlock Holmes, that's Basil. Like, and he's a mouse. But
yeah, he's an XP. He's inspired by it, but he doesn't actually carry the name.
But then you have Sherlock Gnomes, and I want to know if they had to go bend over backwards for that really bizarre movie. I need to finish that movie. I really shouldn't, but I want to.
I just, my main thing is with Ace Attorney, where the great Ace Attorney had to settle for Herlock Shoals.
Oh, man.
Simply because that character is in the public domain because it got around copyright back in the day.
Oh, I'm reminded of, I think it was the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. They had basically a knockoff Indiana Jones, and the rumor was they just didn't give him a face for legal reasons, but I think it might have been like a design error. I can't remember, but it's a really silly story.
Just being both animation-wise efficient and avoiding copyright by removing the face, like I could believe that out of all of the options that they had, that they that was the one that was most attractive.
I want to say, I'm trying to remember the fake name they gave him.
I don't remember.
All I know is that show's wacky. It reminds me of, speaking of copyright stuff, you know the show Cyber Chase?
Oh yes, I loved Cyber Chase.
Do you remember, they had a couple of episodes that were inexplicably Harry Potter coded? Like, extremely.
Oh yes, Sherry Spotter.
It was like,
yes,
and it was weird.
It was the 2000s. Harry Potter was all the rage. Everybody had a Harry Potter.
And that,
parody.
and that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is when I swear Kirby Right Back at Ya had a insert J.K. Rowling's character. I need to go back and see if that's the case, because that was really bizarre, because, why would a Japanese show care? But maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see nearly as much Harry Potter-like influence. I don't necessarily think that Japan had the same Harry Potter mania that we had in the Western world. Same thing with Star Wars. Japan just doesn't have the same cultural relationship with Star Wars that we do.
I'm gonna have to go back and see if I was, just seeing patterns that weren't there as a kid. Oh, we haven't been to this area, I don't think.
This is treetops, or... Yeah, I think this is, or maybe this is climbing trees. We've been here before. I smacked a flower, and you said that that's probably helpful.
Oh right. I meant where Jane and Terk were.
They're just at the entrance to another area.
Okay.
They're here.
Ugh,
you can see them in the background there. Yeah, just kill the fruit and the fight is over.
It reminds me of the, whatever that boss is called in Metroid Prime 2.
Oh,
I'm
not sure.
It's the one where you get the Dark Visor.
The Dark Visor.
It has like 2 different stages. You take out the larva Chica. Oh yeah, Chica.
You just hacked your memory.
Yeah. That's how it works. All I had to do was stop trying.
Yeah, because I was thinking of the Alpha blog, but that's...
Well, I was too, and I'm like, that's wrong.
Because I was trying to think I remember that area because where you go up the elevator and that's where you use the Dark Visor to climb up an area to I think hit a switch.
Yeah. Now that Prime 4 continues to get... Oh, we have cutscene. Gun.
So, Clayton is now oddly quiet?
Yeah! He's got that
very,
weird
very
thousand-yard
emotionless
stare.
I think it's implying that he is either, possessed by Heartless or in the process of becoming a Heartless.
It certainly reads that way to me.
Not Clayton.
But then right here, he just lets out a big old yell.
Right. There's something satisfying about beating the shit out of a middle-aged British guy with a gun. It's just really funny to me.
Yeah, so, and then the whole not Clayton thing, and I know what that's referring to. We're going to see it right here, but at the same time, I don't know, You can also interpret not Clayton to mean that, well, he's not Clayton anymore.
Yeah. I kind of get that.
This thing didn't appear until just now, so what exactly was Tarzan saying when he said not Clayton?
His gorilla sense was tingling. Goofy! Ha! Hearing him say Goofy, that's good.
I forgot to take Tarzan's items away.
Oh.
Which is fine, because if there's one time you should have them on, it's during a boss fight.
Right. Now, I played this on the PS2 for a while, and this particular boss was very much a thorn in my side for dying. Because, yeah, not being able to skip the cutscenes was bad.
Yeah, I do recall this being a difficult boss early on for a lot of players. I can't remember if I ever had too much trouble with it, probably on my first time. Maybe it was harder on PS2. It's weird. There's usually like one specific part of any given Kingdom Hearts game that gives me trouble, but only sometimes. And then there's other parts where it's given me trouble in the past, and then it's fine at other times. Like there's just one part in a game where it's like, well, I guess this is the one I'm gonna have trouble with this game.
So is this the kind of boss where if you defeat one, you defeat both? Or does this chameleon guy have functionally infinite HP, and you have to take down Clayton?
The Stealth Sneak and Clayton are independent. You have to take down both of them.
Oh, okay.
So like right here, I shift attention to Clayton. Probably not the best idea. Probably best to focus on one until you take it out, and so then you're down a threat.
From a world-building perspective, I wonder if the Heartless possessed a chameleon, or if this just always was a Heartless.
I mean, I know I said the Heartless possessing something before. That's not really a thing that Heartless do. There's one specific Heartless called a Possessor that does kind of do that. I think that this is just the Heartless of something from this world that took on an appropriate appearance.
I do like the tribal markings on it. That's a pretty cool design.
Or rather, no, this is an emblem Heartless, so it's artificial.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was that visual distinction.
If you see the Heartless emblem on a Heartless, it's artificial. If you don't see it, it's a pure blood and is from someone falling to darkness or having their heart stolen.
Uh-oh.
Well,
he's dead, Sora. What? And yet they show a heart.
He's not dead.
Out.
He just broke most of his bones.
You can.
That's the other reason. That is the other reason why I decided to come to Deep Jungle first, is because you get Cure. As you can imagine, pretty useful in Olympus Coliseum.
Harambe, no! It's been enough time. I think we can make those jokes. Nah. Gosh.
So earlier, when we were searching for Jane, that's probably the part of this world that people tend to dislike the most, because you're mostly just bouncing from area to area randomly trying to find gorillas to defeat. I just pathed it out very carefully because I knew where they all were, but yeah, it's not a highlight of the game, that particular segment. I want to say that this is a iconic shot from the film.
It kind of is. Like, there's the scene where he jumps from like the top of a waterfall and then belly flops, I remember.
Alright, so Donald now has Cure, which means that I'm more inclined to put him in my party now.
Now, I mentioned mods, and you said there hasn't been that many for this game, but I wonder if anybody's tackled trying to make the AI for Donald and Goofy a little bit better.
maybe there has been a little something, but usually you're really restricted by what types of files are made available and are easily changed. You know, like just moving around character attack values and HP pools and whatnot. That's more the kind of thing that's easy to do with Kingdom Hearts 1 and its tool set. Something like altering party member AI is more the domain of Kingdom Hearts 3 since it's Unreal.
Right. I almost wonder if, you know, by the time 4 comes out, if they'll ever consider upporting Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 to the engine of 3.
Nomura has talked about the potential of remaking Kingdom Hearts 1 before, but it was only ever as a hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that might be a fool's errand of trying to update something that doesn't need it, and you would just risk losing something in the process. It's like, I would not envy anyone who would try to make an HD remake of Super Metroid.
Right. Like, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was originally going to be Banjo-Kazooie, but made in a new engine. They just did not go with it.
So yeah, that little waterfall area is one of the more obvious places where the limitations of the early PS2 camera is like, oh boy, this is kind of having to fight it here.
Heart.
And as you can imagine, it was no better on the PS2 where all you had was the shoulder buttons.
Friends. Same heart.
White Trinity.
Clayton. Lose heart.
Yep, we'll
No
get to
heart.
that near the end of the game.
No see friends. No heart. No friends.
Sorry about what I said.
So Tarzan had no idea where Riku and Kairi were. He was just trying to tell Sora to keep heart, and he'll find them eventually. Which taught Sora and Donald a little something about getting along with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too complicated, but you know, it's a nice little arc, I think, here that honestly a lot of other worlds and other games would do well to take notes from.
Yeah. It's
But it's sure not
The other half of the gummy that we need.
I think someone has a new admirer.
As a kid, I couldn't decide if I like that weird. What do you call that? Whatever the keyhole shaped thing, that was cute. But yeah,
Iris out.
my brother and I, we were always like, "Is Terk a boy or a girl?" And we just, I mean, they say it in the movie, so I don't know why we ever debated.
Mm-hmm.
The hunter lured them there.
It is nice that we get this little shot of the this little scene with the villains after the world.
I wish they did this more.
But it seems the bait was too tasty for his own good.
They do it maybe more than you might remember.
Oh.
Yeah, he got chopped instead.
Thank you, HD. We can clearly see Oogie Boogie doing nothing.
I mean, it's what he's best at.
But the boy is a problem.
I mean, look, at least Ursula has an idle animation.
Yeah, he's just big chilling back there.
It will take him ages to find the lift. Besides,
Be incredible if he was T-posing to assert his
Oh
dominance.
my gosh, that would be the best.
Yes, the princesses.
they are falling into our hands one by one. Speaking of wind,
So, this is interesting. So right there, they fully expect you to do Wonderland completely before coming here. But if you don't, if you trigger that cutscene by completing this world before you finish Wonderland, or at least before you get to the part in Wonderland where Alice is kidnapped, instead of Alice, right there, it's actually Snow White.
Oh. That's
So
really interesting.
they planned ahead.
I kind of wish there was a Snow White world. That would have been cool.
They did eventually do that.
Oh, okay. Remind me, what keychain is on your Keyblade that I gave you?
The Keyblade that you gave me is Starlight.
Oh, does it not even have a keychain on it?
Oh no, it does.
Okay.
It's just yeah. So it's something that casual players may not know. Realize is that different Keyblades are really just different keychains that you attach to the Keyblade, and then it changes form.
I don't know if there's a comic of this, but I want to see. I want to see where Sora's managed to cram every keychain on there, and it just turns into that one shot of Aang from Avatar, where he's wearing the armor that makes him fall over because it was just too over the top, like just some over-designed Keyblade that has like every Keyblade combined into one. Just crap.
I want to say that I have seen a comic about that where it was just an unholy mess of a Keyblade, but that's actually something that causes some problems where it's like, okay, so you would have to think about the mechanics of you take the keychain, you pop it on, and then the other one just sort of would have to like fall off as it's transforming.
Right.
That's how I've always imagined it. But then there's also the idea of, okay, so if a Keyblade is really just determined by which keychain is attached, then what is a Keyblade? Like, what's its base form?
Right.
Like,
what would it look like if you
one?
took off the Kingdom Key? Or the Kingdom Key Mickey little thingamabobber.
Yeah, the chain, and it causes problems of tracking, different Keyblades.
Right.
Back here, when it was imagined that there would only be like one, maybe two Keyblades in existence, it wasn't a big deal. But as they had more and more Keyblade wielders and got looser with those rules, it really causes a problem of like,
So I completely spaced this for this whole world, but I always misremember Jane's father being in this game, and he's not.
No, he is not. I don't even remember what he looks like.
He's a short. Imagine if
he's got like the British explorer.
He's got like the big bushy mustache and
yeah,
skinny.
I think I'm getting.
He's like got a pot belly, but his limbs are super skinny, and he's like.
I think I've got an image in my head.
Yeah.
It's not super clear, but yeah, I think I remember.
Basically, it's the. Oh, what's his name? I can't even remember his name. Yeah, the Virgin Professor and the Chad Nigel Thornberry. That's a name you could make.
Yeah, so just running around, cleaning up some stuff in Deep Jungle here. Oh yeah, and we'll be using the Jungle King Keyblade for a while, because it'll be a bit before we get another one, and this one's just pretty much better than the Kingdom King.
So for this playthrough, did you pretty much just, every time you got a new Keyblade, you'd switch to it to show it off, or do you have one that you enjoyed through this playthrough?
The Keyblades can usually get consistently better as time goes on, so if you don't upgrade, you are missing out. It's really just a practicality thing. However, anyone who's played this game a sufficient number of times knows full well that there are a handful of Keyblades that are just absolutely awful by the time you get them and never get used.
Yeah. Like, I remember the Peter Pan one. I didn't realize this game had a range mechanic for how far you could hit. So, while I liked the Peter Pan one, I didn't realize it was why I was starting to have difficulty hitting stuff, because it's so stubby.
Yeah, there's several stats in relation to Keyblades that they don't really expose. The only ones that they quantify are the attack strength and the MP, whether it grants or takes away MP. But there's also the length of the Keyblade, which does have a big impact. There's also its critical rate, like at what rate you'll get critical hits with it. Some won't get them at all. Sometimes there's at least one where you will get a critical hit at the end of every combo. And then there's also the deflection rating, which influences how it deals with you clashing with enemies and hitting against attacks.
Like with the tech things right there?
Yeah, where you're like parrying attacks. A higher deflection rating means that enemies won't just stop your attacks quite so hard, and you'll be able to counterattack and recover much quicker.
To slide down the slider. That feels like a mistranslation or a very lazy localization.
Yeah, a bit awkwardly worded there. So, originally when I recorded this, I was only gonna show the mini game here for the first segment of Jungle Slider. You come back here once the world is done, you do each section, get all 10 nuts, and you get a little prize. But this mini game was not very well structured, but then later on I went back and I recorded everything, and with the magic of editing, you don't have to sit through me having to go through the entire mini game all over again in order to get to the next segment.
It's interesting because these fruits remind me of the fruits that you would have in the Tarzan game for the PS1 and N64, I think.
Maybe was there a fruit or a nut shown in the movie that this is based on?
Like, I know this is a fruit, and I think they were throwing fruit around, so maybe. But yeah, that's a game I need to go back and play, because I was terrible at video games as a kid, and that's one that I'd like to be able to beat as an adult.
Yeah, the nuts I'm mixing up with something that comes later. But yeah, so with this mini game, with this mini game, what you have to do is you have to go down each segment. You go down the first segment, you collect all 10 nuts, and you get a time for the first segment. Then you go back, you start it over again, you get the 10 nuts in the first segment, then you go to the second segment, get all the 10 nuts there, you get your prize, then it finishes, then you have to go through, do the first 2 segments, getting all the nuts all over again, then you get to the third segment, and so on and so forth. So you have to do a total of, like, 15 segments in order, and that's if you do it perfectly, in order to get everything.
I never even knew this minigame was here.
Yeah, so I usually only go up to the third one, I believe, because it gives you a really good synthesis item. And the prizes for 4 and 5 are good, but right there, dark matter. I just couldn't be bothered to go through the trouble of getting them all. I think this playthrough might have been the first time I ever did it.
Oh, it's kind of neat. I did like that little cave area that you went through. It's very different. Cool.
And, you know, I did puzzle through it, and I think I can kind of understand the thought process that went into structuring the minigame this way. Doesn't mean it was a good idea, but I can kind of imagine the roundabout process they went through, where it's like, well, we want to time the player, but if they fail, then they're basically getting a time for a much shorter course. But if we just allow them to do the whole course in one go, then they'll never get a time for the other ones. So we kind of want to make them do each sub-course. I don't know. It's a thing where I can kind of understand how things might have gone, but this thing really needed a second pass on.
Yeah, it very much feels a little bit like an afterthought.
I mean, the tree sliding was such a big deal with the Tarzan movie that I'm sure that they were very insistent that they would include it.
Oh, yeah. But... Nice. I really am impressed at the, 2D 3D canvas tech of that? Wow, you really tore through there.
Yeah, deep canvas. The last segment is pretty short.
Couldn't think of the word.
But yeah, you get a defense up and a power up, which I've changed to strength boost and defense boost in the for the final 2 segments, which is, you know, pretty good, especially at that point in the game. So you might, if you're having trouble, you might consider going for it. But so let's beef up the ship, get a little bit more defense on there, some more guns. I think I might have added another engine, so go a little bit faster.
I tried to just max out speed as much as I could to get through these segments.
But yeah, that'll do it for this part. We will be going to the final world of the initial batch next time.